Usual Monday, so glad that we have some people coming out. I'm going to read the statement of compliance that is mandatory. Statement of compliance with the Sunshine Law. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, the annual notice was emailed to the West Essex Tribune and Star Ledger on January 3rd, 2025. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available at livingstonnj.org. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or matters outlined in the Sunshine Laws. Decisions made and/or discussed in closed sessions will be made known to the public at a later time. Notice to the members of the governing body and township staff: any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purpose of township business, and any communications are subject to the Open Publics Record Act. To the extent possible, this evening's Township of Livingston Council meeting will be live streamed via Facebook at www.facebook.com/Livingston Township NJ. Questions and/or comments will be accepted by emailing livcomments@livingstonNJ.org by 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting and shared with the Township Council before the meeting. Each speaker should follow the rules of order in Livingston Code 2-15.3. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony.
Here.
Botani.
Here.
Vieira.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Klein.
Here.
Mayor Meinhardt.
I am here. We're going to rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We think about all the veterans, since we just had Memorial Day, all the veterans who served with us and all the veterans who gave their life for the ultimate sacrifice, so all of us can be here in a free country and have meetings like this where people can speak up freely. So we think about all those and their families at this time. Thank you. Counselor? All right, we have Essex County updates. Eileen Fishman? No, we don't see Eileen. All right. Moving on, we have a couple of proclamations and presentations this evening. First up is my friend. So you're first up. Where is the micro? Is there a microphone? Okay, somebody, Adam, can you maybe just help her with the mic, please? And so I had the honor of being interviewed a few months ago. Ava, who was a fourth grader? Yeah. Fourth grader at the Riker Hill School, who wrote an article in the Riker Hill newspaper about our interview. She also interviewed the chief of police, as well as, anybody else? Or anybody else?
Yes, Miss Montalto and Miss Benavides.
Okay. I think you have some copies of what you wrote as well. Maybe
Yeah.
you want to pass them out to the town council before
Sure.
you want to pass them out before you read them?
Sure.
All right. Thank you. I'm happy to autograph any copies for you guys afterwards. The floor and the meeting is all yours. All right, so introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself, and anything else you want to say about yourself, and you can go ahead and read the article.
Good evening, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to be standing here tonight. My name is Safia Uttam, and I'm a fourth grader at Riker Hill Elementary School. I am part of a program called Gifted and Talented Enrichment. As part of this program, my fellow classmates and I published a newspaper put together by our GT teachers, Miss Kessler and Miss Zambrio. We also cleverly titled it Read the Ram, after our school's mascot, as you can guess, a ram. I wrote an article about our community leaders' commitment to our community. I decided to write this article because I wanted people to understand the vital roles that people play to make Livingston a better place to live in. After I wrote this article, many people liked it, so I was invited here to present my article. For this project, I interviewed our wonderful mayor, Mr. Ed Meinhardt, our brave police chief, Mr. Gary Marshowitz, Riker Hill's Educator of the Year, Miss Montalto, and my very own principal, Miss Benavides. By the way, Miss Montalto is my homeroom teacher. She cares about each and every student, and even if they're not in her class, she totally deserves this award. It was truly fascinating to learn about their fundamental roles. My article describes each and every interview in great details. My article is also chosen to be in front page. I'm now delighted to distribute copies of the entire newspaper for you to read at your own leisure. Thank you so much.
So that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. I loved being interviewed by you. I loved seeing you a few weeks ago at the art show. I think I saw you as well. I love doing that. Just as an FYI, one of your teachers, Miss Zambrio, who's a gifted and talented teacher, was actually my daughter's 4th and 5th grade teacher many, many years ago at Mount Pleasant. So it just goes to show the value of that the teachers have, and congratulations also in the back as well, so if they're being named Teacher of the Year, you know, what the teachers do for this community makes it a better world, and you know, we have students like this who learn from these teachers and present from these teachers, and we're very, very fortunate that we have teachers like that. So thank you very much. Do you mind coming up? We can take a picture with the whole council. Come on up, we'll take a picture. We'll all go downstairs, we'll take a picture with the whole council, all right? Thank you so much. It was great to see you. Great job. Thank you so much. It was great. Thank you so much. It was great. Thank you. Let's do the, okay, let me do real quick the proclamation of the gun thing first.
Hey, can I just say one thing on this?
No. Any comments by any of the council?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in. So first of all, it's incredible that was 21 pages long, right? I mean, that's a really meaty newspaper, but also it reminds me, the New York Times over this past weekend just wrote a story about a bunch of kids who are putting out a newspaper in Montauk every week over the course of the summer. And it's two things. First of all, it's, you know, local news is having a very hard time right now. So it's very hard to have a business model where local news is able to support itself, especially in New Jersey, right? Because New Jersey, everything's about New York and Philadelphia. So local coverage of news is really important in New Jersey. So I applaud you for, you know, going out and interviewing the mayor, and I hope you gave him a hard time. I haven't had a chance to read the article yet. But also, it's great that you did this, and I hope you keep up with it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll just say that this was just amazing to see you speak so clearly with your ideas, with your thoughts, write so clearly. I don't know who picked the pictures, but the pictures came out also very good, Mr. Mayor. But anyways, I mean, this was very nicely done. Kudos to mom and dad. I'm sure a very, very proud moment for you all. Amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, anybody else? Go.
Same. Congratulations, Mom and Dad. This is terrific. I've known Ed about 20 years, 15 years, and I'm learning a few things right now from your great journalism here. Congratulations, and it just makes me feel so good about the future with young students like you, so congratulations.
I also want to say congratulations. And you're fourth grade. I can't wait to see your writing when you graduate college and become a professional writer. So congratulations again.
Thank you, guys. Great. Great to see you. We're going to go a little bit out of order just for a second. We're going to do number 3 next, the National Gun Violence Awareness Day. We have a proclamation to read, Lori, so why don't we read the Okay, whoever wants to come up. We're going to read the proclamation first, and then you have a couple words to say after that? Okay, so we're going to read the proclamation first. You can come up, though, as we read it. It's pretty long, but it's pretty long today, so okay, no problem. All right, we're going to read this, and then we have a hard copy to give to you as well, all right? Sure. All right, so why don't we start, please? Michael, you're the first 3.
Whereas every day approximately 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and hundreds more sustain non-fatal firearm injuries. Whereas since 2020, firearms are the #1 cause of death for American children and adolescents. Whereas Americans are 26 times more likely to be killed through gun violence than persons in other developed countries.
Whereas the U.S. has a ratio of 121 firearms owned per 100 residents, up from 88 per 100 in 2011, far surpassing that of other countries around the world, and making the U.S. the only country with more civilian-owned firearms than people. Whereas the U.S. gun suicide rate is 10 times that of other high-income countries, and access to a gun increases the risk of death by suicide by 3 times. Whereas protecting the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens is consistent with keeping firearms away from people who are at risk of harming themselves or harming others.
Whereas in states where elected officials have taken action to pass common sense gun safety legislation and policy consistent with the Second Amendment, fewer people die or are injured by gun violence. Whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is a mayor's highest responsibility. Whereas mayors and law enforcement officers know their communities best, are most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe.
Whereas June 6th, 2025 would have been the 27th birthday of Adia Pendleton, the teenager who marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade and was tragically shot and killed just weeks later in her hometown of Chicago. Whereas the idea of National Gun Violence Awareness Day was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange, the color hunters wear to announce themselves to other hunters when in the wilderness, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And by wearing orange on June 6, 2025, and by acknowledging June as National Gun Violence Awareness Month, Americans will help raise awareness about gun violence by honoring the lives lost and human hardship endured due to gun violence. Whereas to honor Hadia and the thousands of other Americans whose lives are tragically cut short every year and the countless survivors who are injured by shootings every day, a national coalition of organizations has designated June 6, 2025 as the 11th Annual National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Livingston affirms its commitment to reduce gun violence, to pledge to all it can do to keep firearms out of the wrong people, to encourage responsible gun ownership, including safe storage of firearms, and to support common sense gun violence prevention legislation consistent with the Second Amendment. And now it be therefore resolved that I, Mayor Meinhardt, Mayor of the Township of Livingston, do hereby affirm the Township of Livingston's commitment to remember all the victims and survivors of gun violence, and do declare that we, as a country, must do more to reduce gun violence, and do hereby proclaim June 6, 2025 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the Township of Livingston.
Great job. That's not fair, right? So I'm Diane Dresdale. I am the Gun Violence Prevention Chairwoman for National Council of Jewish Women, Essex. I also am representing Moms Demand Action, which I am also a leader of. As we heard, thank you, first of all. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. This proclamation makes clear that gun violence in the United States is a public health crisis, a crisis not found in other high-income countries. The crisis is expected to worsen as the current federal leadership in Washington has taken action to reverse common-sense policies that reduce gun violence. Just this month, the Trump administration decided to permit the sale of devices that enable standard firearms to fire like machine guns, reversing its position from the president's first term in office. Still, we are fortunate that New Jersey has one of the lowest rates of firearm deaths and injury in the country. This is no coincidence. For example, we have a comprehensive concealed carry permitting process, a process that needs to be protected from the threat of a bill introduced in Congress that would allow national concealed carry. We have a permit and background check requirements for all gun purchases. We have an extreme risk protection law, a law that lowers the risk of someone in distress from hurting themselves or others with a gun. We have strong ghost gun laws and an assault weapons ban. And in New Jersey, we have prioritized community violence intervention and hospital-based intervention programs. Community violence intervention, or CVI programs, such as that of Newark Community Street Team and Patterson Healing Collective, address gun violence where it occurs every day in underserved communities, where simply walking to school poses a danger from guns, where children have to be escorted to school to avoid being shot. Notably, since 2022, the federal Bipartisan Safer Communities Act funded CVI programs, and as a result, gun violence in inner city communities has gone down. And we can attribute this funding and these programs to why gun violence went down fairly significantly in the past year or so. Unfortunately, in April, the United States Department of Justice notified CVI funding recipients that these grants were being cut immediately. This sudden funding, while arguably illegal, has caused CVI programs to drastically reduce their staff and services. I raise this now as an ask to those here to consider contacting your member of Congress and senators and request that the CVI funding be reinstated. In addition, please contact your state legislators to request that they include further funding for CVI in the upcoming budget. If enough of us across the country raise awareness about the devastating impact of gun violence and the policies and legislation proven effective in reducing gun violence, and possibly specifically about losing CVI programs, we will do our part in saving lives. To that end, we invite all to attend the Northern New Jersey Wear Orange to End Gun Violence rally being held on June 7th at 11 a.m. on the steps of the Morristown Municipal Building. We will have lawmakers speaking, gun violence survivors, and importantly, speakers from community violence intervention programs such as Newark Community Street Team, who will speak to their dangerous work on the ground that saves lives every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else? Stay here for a second. Anybody else speak? Lori, anybody else want to say a few words or no? You're all good? Okay. Listen, I'll start off. I'm sure other people have a few words, but Dan, thank you and everybody for bringing this to our attention. We do this every year, as you know, and it's something that we all feel strong about, and we're appreciative of your efforts that you do, not only to make it known here in Livingston, but throughout the county and through the whole state as well. So we really appreciate that, and on behalf of all of us.
You're from Moms in Action, correct, you guys? Yes. So I'm here with other people from Moms as well.
We appreciate everything that you all do, and it's important work that you do, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to get a photo.
I'm a regular. Look at this. Look at this. She should have done it. Oh, thank you. I hope we can get some people at our rally. I hope we can get some people at our rally. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you get in the middle. You get in the middle. We'll give it. Get in the middle. We're going to give you the. We'll give you this. We'll give you the. All right.
edition of the newspaper?
All right, moving on. Next is the Sounds of Hope. I'm going to introduce, not that needs introduction, Councilman Patani to introduce this group.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is one of those moments which really I can say that I got so inspired by our own students. And of course, we have the littlest one start today, so thank you for that, Javier. But I think the next group, it's an inspiring group of Livingston High School students. Arav, Brendan, Risha, Ethan, Andrew, and Corey. Now these are some of the names. Let me give you what that group does. Sound of Hope is the name, beautiful name. But what it is that, let's take a step back. Music really inspires, right? We all know that. Music has incredible ability to heal emotionally, mentally, and even physically. And I've seen firsthand how these students have approached this, their talents, use that to heal terminally ill seniors. And these are folks in the hospice care, in senior centers. And I was in awe when I attended one of those sessions, when they effortlessly, and this is the fun part, effortlessly sang 60s and 70s classics. These are kids. I mean, of course, you don't want to call yourselves kids because you are high school students, but for all of us sitting here and parents, you are such a model here, and you can sing such effortlessly 60s and 70s classics, and those seniors tap on their, on their wrists and tap on their thighs and move and really see such happiness coming out of their joy, coming out of their, from them. It's just amazing. So again, this is Sound of Hope group, such aptly named. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for giving that moments of joy to all of those seniors. You have started back in Whippany, I think a few months back or a year back or something. But I would love to hear your story. I guess one of you can come up here and talk about it. But I want to congratulate all of you and your parents, proud parents, because I see amazing amount of joy and pride come out when you perform, when those seniors tap at your music. It's just amazing. So why don't you come over here, take a couple of minutes and give us your story. And I think, as Mayor said, we had some recognition for you guys. So is that Arav?
Hello? Hello? All right. Good evening, everyone. I promise I know what time of day it is. I'm pretty sure it's the evening. I'd like to start off by saying thank you so much to Mayor Meinhardt and the entire town council for this incredible opportunity. We are incredibly honored to be receiving this award. And a special thanks to Councilman Ketan Bhutani. He not only represents the youth and just us, but the Livingston community and its heart entirely. The Sound of Hope started off as something very, very small. It was just me playing sax solos for seniors at Care 1 during my freshman year. I didn't have a very big plan, just a simple and basic idea, that music in all of its little joys could bring a little hope to the people that needed it the most. And it did. The smiles, the toe taps, the clapping of people that may not have stood in years was all of the proof that I needed to keep going. But the thing is, I knew I couldn't do this alone. One man can't just do it by himself. And so I started to build the band. We started off with Ethan, our incredible keyboard player, Brandon, our amazing drummer, Risha, our amazing lead guitarist, Andrew, one of the most reliable rhythm guitarists I've ever seen, and Corey, our incredible bass player. Each of them bring their own unique spirit and unique talents to each and every rehearsal and each and every performance. Without them, none of this would be possible. And we together became the Sound of Hope, a band, a rock band with a mission. We perform for seniors, for adults with mental health disabilities, and at food kitchens and soup kitchens. Some of these people can't speak. Some of these people can't stand. But when the music plays, something magical happens. They begin to feel. They begin to move. And that, to me, is the power of what we do. I want to thank my bandmates from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for believing in this vision. Thank you for your commitment to 1.5 hour rehearsals every Sunday. Yes, even that snowy Sunday this December when nobody thought it was gonna happen. Without your dedication, none of this would be possible, and we couldn't be where we are today. And this award is for all of us that make music, for all of us that bring joy to all of those around us, and for all of us that walk into every room bringing hope to those around us. Thank you so much for the award.
Do you want to, we have some citations for all the members. I'm just going to read one, and then we're going to call the names, and we'll come down and we'll give the names individually. It says, the mayor and members of Livingston Township Council are pleased to honor, and then individual names, for sharing your gift of music through the Sound of Hope Band, which provides therapy, connection, and hope to individuals in senior centers, veteran homes, and soup kitchens, for creating uplifting moments and motivational experiences through melodies that get hands clapping and feet moving, bestowing smiles, laughter, and tears of joy. Sound of Hope impact on our community is immeasurable. So congratulations. We're going to hand out, we'll call out everyone's names, we'll come down, and there's also one other plaque as well. So we'll go down there and we'll give out the plaques to everybody. All right?
So I'm going to congratulate afterwards. So it'll be afterwards, guys. I think we're going to have pictures at the end. First, let's have the citations, right? So Andrew White. Brendan Zhao. Then we have Ethan Young. Corey Scalar. Risha Sawant. And the founder and the CEO, R.O. George. Mayor? There you go. Congratulations. Congrats. Now my hands are free. Congrats. Congrats.
We're going to picture moments here without all of us. All right, some great presentations and great having the youth here this evening, so it's wonderful. Moving on, can I have an approval of the minutes for the May 13th, 2025 regular and conference meeting, as well as the closed session meetings of the same date?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion to open public comment?
I'll make the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The meeting is open for public comments on agenda items only with a 4-minute time limit.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right,
Mayor, can I do a quick recognition?
sure.
If you don't mind. We have an audience, someone who is, in India, there is the biggest city in India is Mumbai, if you know the geography. And of that, we have Mr. Kamlesh Shah here. Thank you for being here. He is a former member of Mumbai Municipal Corporation. Thank you for being here. He connected with me and I said, come on, take a look, see how we do business here. And whether it's exactly same as Mumbai or slightly different. But thank you for being here. And he is out of major initiatives that he has ran as part of his council or corporation responsibilities. One of them, Sean, might interest you, is he was a member of Tree Authority, which is really oversees a lot of green spaces and all of that in Mumbai. So thank you again for being here. Yeah.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us this evening, and we're pleased to welcome you this evening. Thank you. Okay, we did that. Okay, so now it is time for the 2025 municipal budget hearing.
Mayor, this is the time fixed for the public hearing on the municipal budget for 2025 as approved by the governing body on April 28th, 2025, was advertised as required by law on May 15th, 2025, together with notice of hearing for this time.
Okay. Anyone who has not secured a copy of the budget may now do so. Sean. Sean, no.
Mayor, I have a resolution 25-194A regarding the reading of the budget by title only, and make a motion to move the resolution for adoption.
I'll second the motion.
A roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Baptani?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt?
Yes, the resolution is adopted. Is now the town manager's measure for the budget hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this year, as we do every year, we try and give a brief overview and a presentation of the budget, a little bit about how we got to where we are. Before I get into the presentation, I just want to, again, thank Ann Cucci, our CFO, all the department heads. Ann has been a great partner since she came on board 5 years ago, and we've really done some great work together, and certainly under the direction of the mayor and council, who are constantly reminding us of the importance of being vigilant and looking for money-saving opportunities, trying to minimize the tax impact. So that being said, this is the Township of Livingston 2025 budget presentation. First slide we always pull up and bring to everyone's attention is to make sure, and hopefully after all these years of doing this, people are starting to understand that when you get your tax bill, it actually, although we send the bill represents taxes from different taxing entities besides the township. So while we send the bills and we collect the monies, we don't get to keep the monies, nor do we have a role, nor do the mayor and council have a role in determining how much the school taxes or the county taxes should be. So for every dollar of taxes paid, 60.4% goes to the school, 18.3% goes to the county. The township is 17.9%, which we're slowly going down. We were 18.3%. The library, which is a statutory formula based on the total assessed value in the property, represents 1.8%. And the reserve for uncollected taxes, that's a non-spending appropriation. And what I mean by that is we have to include that in our budget, but it's not money that we get to spend. That's just to cover the fact that not everybody pays their taxes, and because the school and the county have to get 100% of their money if people don't pay us, but we have to pay them, we have to have a cushion there. So as noted, the Board of Education approves the school taxes in their budget, representing 60.4% of the total tax bill. The Essex County Board of Commissioners approves the county taxes, 18.3%. Library tax is set by the state based on a formula, 0.33 mil, based on the overall assessed value. The reserve fund collected taxes I just touched upon. So again, to conclude, the Township Council and what they're voting on tonight only represents 17.9% of your total tax bill. So when we look at our operations, we try and look and see how are we doing, and one of the things we do is compare ourselves to our neighboring towns and communities in Essex County. In Livingston, the average assessed home was $721,238. There's obviously many houses higher value than that, houses lower value. But that's the average assessed home. The last year's municipal tax rate, and I cite last year's because this is the one I can compare to other towns because not everybody has their budgets done, was 44.3 cents per $100 of valuation. So you take your property value divided by 100 and multiply by 44 cents. Another way to look at it solely on the municipal side, and this is only the municipal taxes, would be $443 for every $100,000 worth of value of your home. So in 2024, the municipal taxes on that average 721,000 assessed home was $3,195. Again, that's just the municipal taxes. Obviously, your tax bill is probably 5 times that or a little higher because we're only 17.9% of the total. Importantly, when we look around the county, again, proud to say that our municipal tax rate, the rate that the mayor and council control, continues to be the second lowest of all 22 municipalities in the county. And the overall tax rate in Livingston is the 7th lowest when you add in the county and the school taxes. So what this chart shows is North Caldwell, and I'm happy to say we closed the gap on a little bit since last year, so we're coming for them. We're hopefully going to be number 1 here. But only North Caldwell has a lower municipal tax rate per $100 of valuation within the entire county, and every other town has a higher tax rate than us. So if you look down this column, it shows you what their rate per $100 of valuation is, and what the taxes in that town would be if you had the same average assessed home in any one of these towns. That's how much your taxes would be. And then the far right would show you, not picking on anyone, but say number 5, Fairfield, their rate's 50.7 cents. The municipal taxes there on the same house would be $36.57, $462 higher if you had the exact same value house, and if you go down the line. I will say some of the more urban communities down at the very end, a little skewed because they probably haven't done revaluations in a long time, and I won't bore you with the details of what that means, but so it's something I think that the mayor and council, I'm certainly proud of, that we continue to be vigilant and really, I think, make an effort to control and minimize the tax impact on our residents, and again, second lowest rate of all municipalities in the county. The next slide, which is also something I think that we can all be proud of, which is where do the revenues come from to fund all our operations? Obviously, we have a pretty sizable operation, police department, fire department, public works, capital, engineering, everything. In 2024 or 2025, in this year's budget, real property taxes account for 60.2% of our total revenues, with a number of other sources listed, our capital fund balance, grants, delinquent taxes, state aid, pilots. I won't read the whole list, but later on I'll tie in the importance of that. And so then how do we spend your money? And this is a breakdown of our major departments and where your money goes. And what you'll see is public safety, which constitutes police, fire, first aid, emergency dispatch. That's fully a third of every dollar you pay goes to just those core functions. Our debt service and capital projects for all the roads, buildings, et cetera, that we do is the next biggest percentage at 16%. Public works, which is maintaining all the fields, maintaining all the properties, plowing snow, collecting leaves, all those things represents the next biggest. So those, just those 3 core functions alone, which are really indispensable and non-discretionary, and I think everybody agrees you have to have, represents 60% of every dollar we take in. As you go down the list, you can see the other functions, all of which are critical and I think provide good services to the residents. So in 2025, then, is an overall summary. Our goal is always to maintain or improve our levels of service and staffing levels. It covers union contracts that we may have in place. This year we had some challenges. It seems like every year we have certain challenges and certain things, many of which are outside of our control, that give us increases. So we had, for example, increased pension, insurance, and statutory costs, which come directly from the state or from the insurance company, that we had to accommodate for in the budget. We also have increased capital and debt service. Part of that is the result of our converting short-term notes into long-term debt and locking in historically low interest rates, but with that comes the obligation to repay principal that we did not have to do with notes. The tax rate increase this year is 2.12%, which is below the cost of living increase. And on the average assessed home of $721,000, that equates to an increase for the entire year on the municipal tax side of $67.80, which equates to $5.65 a month. So we feel like we've limited the burden on the residents to a great extent, to where you're really talking about a cup of coffee a month in increase. As with every year, as I mentioned, it does seem that there always seems to be a handful of things that cause all the increase. This chart is just a quick summary of that. Our IT budget is going up by a not insignificant amount. Part of that is Google, Adobe, and everything. They've all kind of wised up and gone to a subscription service where we have to pay for every seat that we have, where you used to just buy it once or it was free. And our planning budget is up significantly. A lot of that relates to the considerable efforts and ongoing efforts, particularly as it relates to Livingston Mall. We had the charrette process, which generated a lot of public participation, a lot of input, and other processes. Our police salary and wage line is up fairly significantly. Part of that is because there's a customary contractual increase, but that increase is 2.5%. But importantly, we're adding and increasing the size of the department, recognizing the growth of the community. We added 4 more officers. We're now up to 75 uniform officers. Will allow for additional manpower on the road and patrol to help improve and increase public safety. Our health insurance is up in part because of just increases that we got from the health insurance carrier, but also that is partially increased due to the 4 new officers and full-time employees that get insurance. Have also contributed to that. I would note that this number is mitigated by the employee contributions. Each employee is required, based on income level and coverage level, to contribute anywhere from 25 to 35% of their health insurance cost. Our trash collection contract is expiring in September, and so we had to forecast that we just recently received new bids and are reviewing those currently, but we had to budget for some additional anticipated increase. Police and fire pension, which is a bill that we get from the state that non-negotiable. Their actuaries do a calculation and send us a bill. It's up $189,000. I referenced earlier our capital improvement fund, and our debt service is up, but again, that's due to the conversion of long-term bonds plus major capital projects we're undertaking, including the DPW garage. And finally, the reserve for uncollected taxes, which is a statutory formula. It's mandatory, non-discretionary, but also non-spending. And ultimately, at the end of the year, our tax collector and her staff do such a great job. They usually collect much higher than that figure is based on, and ultimately that regenerates back into fund balance and surplus. So the summary of in total of those 8 items alone account for $3,571,000 of an overall increase of 3.78. So you can see that those items are going up 11%, where the rest of the entire budget goes up 6.9. So everything else in the budget is only going up 0.9%, which are largely the things that we have control over. Fiscally, though, we're in very, very good position. And again, this is a credit to Ann Cucci and our whole team, our bond counsel, our auditors, our financial advisors. It's really been a team effort to put us on such sound fiscal standing. Our fund balance, our surplus, increased by over $5 million, or 43% year over year. It grew from the year-end 23 at $11 million to year-end 24 at $16.7 million, which is the highest fund balance the township has ever had. As noted, it's more than tripled since 2018. When I got here, it was 4.9 million. It's now 16.7. And really in the last 11 years, it's gone up 15-fold from only 1.1 million in 2013. And the importance of that, it shows that you're in very solid financial standing, which improves your credit rating, which is the Moody's and other bond rating companies. That's how they base the interest rates that they give us. So the better shape that we're in, the lower interest rates we get, and ultimately we benefit. So we are very close to becoming AAA, which is a goal that we've had for a number of years, and we hope to get there. The other important part, and that's what this last one is, and I touched on that earlier on the slide of where do our revenues come from. We're now gotten to the point through our emphasis on alternative funding sources, whether it be grants or pilots or improved efficiencies in the office generating additional revenues. Our reliance on property taxes is now only 60.2% of our total appropriations, whereas in 2018 it was 79%. So we relied very heavily on taxes, and we've reduced that as a percentage. So again, something I think that we're all proud of, and certainly consistent with the direction from the mayor and council. Overall capital budget, we've continued to provide funding for the new DPW facilities, streets, roads, vehicles and equipment. The water capital continues to work on the PFAS water remediation, that project, and we're going to have a more robust report in the coming weeks, but we are really on track. Those projects are underway. We anticipate the first well remediation projects come online this calendar year, with some more to follow, and then there is a final phase. It'll be done, but we are way ahead. A big shout out to Nathan Kirchhoff, our utility engineer, and Mott McDonald, our consulting engineers, for all their hard work on that project. It's been a challenge. Sewer, we continue to upgrade the plants and the collection system from the capital. The water, sewer, and pool operate as self-liquidating utilities, which means they each have their own independent budget. They each raise revenues through fees and costs and are supposed to be self-liquidating in the sense that they bring in enough revenue to cover their costs. With each of those budgets, again, we look to maintain our service levels, fund the necessary improvements and upgrades, fund capital funding and debt service. One of the things we did know, and it had been building, but given COVID and some other things, we were aware of it, but the water and sewer, we did have to adopt some rate increases recently, but they were the only, the amounts necessary to cover those expenses, and we're happy to say that even after those increases, we are still below most of the rates of our surrounding communities. And then finally, the swimming pool has been a challenge. It's actually in an operating deficit position this year, where the current fund, we are in the process and have been working with a consultant to identify a solution to either renovate or replace the pool and hopefully put it on more sound standing. So that's the overall picture. I think all in all, very good. Again, major thanks to Ann Cucci, our CFO, who's here tonight, and her staff, all the department heads, not only for their input and being sensitive to putting in responsible budgets and being good stewards of public funds, but also for all their hard work throughout the year. And the only other thing I would note is later on in the agenda, we're under state review, which every town, every 2 years, you have to send your state to the budget. After the state review, there's two minor amendments to the budget. One is impacts this, it's a $17,000 differential in the water utility debt service. So that's going to impact the pool utility. That's going to impact, requires a modest amendment to the pool budget, as well as has the same impact then on the operating deficit anticipated in the current fund. And lastly is that reserve for uncollected taxes. It's a statutory formula, and based on the formula and the percentage that we had to use, 3-year averaging versus current year, there's a change there. But again, that's a non-spending appropriation, and we anticipate most of that money to get regenerated as surplus. So that's the overall summary, and happy to answer any questions.
Oh, hold on one sec. We'll get to that. We'll get to the questions in a second. So Barry, thank you very much for all your hard work, and to CFO Ann Cucci as well. Thank you very much for getting this done as well as it looks, and also on time this year. So we very much appreciate it. Before opening this hearing, I wish to outline the procedure. Each person desiring to be heard will rise and give his or her name and address before speaking. I will recognize one speaker at a time in order of rising. Addressing all questions to the chair Where necessary, they will be referred to individual members of the Township Council or municipal officials. Questions must be confined solely to the municipal budget before us. The introduced budget, school or county matters are not proper subjects of this hearing and will not be discussed or answered here tonight.
So Mayor, I now make a motion to open the public hearing on the municipal budget for 2025.
I second the motion.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. The meeting is now open for comments. Observing no further questions from the floor, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Mayor, I move the hearing be closed.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Mayor, I have Resolution 25194B regarding the computing the 2025 reserve for uncollected taxes and make a motion to move the resolution for adoption.
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Reptani?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt?
Yes, the resolution is adopted.
Mayor, I have a resolution to present at this time, amending the municipal budget for the year 2025.
I request the clerk read the amended 2025 budget resolution.
This is Resolution 25-194C to amend the budget, whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2025 was approved on the 20th day of April 2025, and whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held as advertised, and whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget. Now, the general revenues sheet for total surplus anticipated goes from $5,900,000 to $6,397,000. On sheet 4, number 3, interest and costs on taxes goes from $700,000 to $700,751.04. The total general revenues goes from $68,757,919.80 to $69,255,670.85. The deferred charges on the pool deficit goes from $225,568 to $242,868. The reserve for uncollected taxes goes from $2,970,060.99 to $3,450,512.03. The total general appropriation goes from $68,757,919.80 to $69,255,670.85. The dedicated pool utility budget, the deficit goes from $225,568 to $242,686. The total pool utility revenues goes from $717,868 to $735,168. The payment on bond anticipation notes and capital notes goes from $6,400 to $26,835.99. And the total pooled utility appropriations goes from $717,868 even to $735,168.
I offer the foregoing resolution and move for its adoption.
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Reptani?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt?
Yes, the resolution is adopted.
Mayor, I move that the adoption of this budget be postponed as the amendment has to be advertised in the newspaper on May 29th, 2025, and the hearing on the amendment will be on June 4th, 2025.
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Reptani?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt?
Yes, the hearing on the amended budget will be postponed to June 4th, 2025. Thank you all.
So just to reiterate, the advertisement will be in the West Essex Tribune this Thursday, the 29th, and the hearing on the amendment is next meeting on the 4th.
Great. And Carolyn, thank you very much for all your help with this evening. All right, moving on to passage of ordinances. There are none. We don't have any introduction, so we're now on the consent agenda resolutions. All matters listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Anybody like to pull any of the consent agenda resolutions out? Hearing none. Carolyn, would you please read them all?
Resolution 25-196, authorizing a contract with S. Rotondi and Sons LLC. Resolution 25-197, authorizing a one-year extension of existing contract with Bayshore Recycling Corp. Resolution 25-198, authorizing disposition of surplus, which is a vehicle. Resolution 25-199, authorizing disposition of surplus property, 2 vehicles. Resolution 25-200, authorizing approval of change order number 1 with Mott McDonald LLC. Resolution 25-201, authorizing a developer's agreement with Rodak MF1 LLC relative to 457 to 461 South Livingston Avenue. And Resolution 25-202, authorizing a developer's agreement Esplanade LLC relative to 550 to 570 West Pleasant Avenue.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolutions.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Okay, read the roll call, please.
Councilmember Anthony?
Yes.
Baptani?
Yes.
Viera?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Klein?
Yes.
Mayor Meinhardt?
Yes. Do I have a motion to open the public portion?
I'll move to open the public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is now open to public portion on any subject with a 3-minute time limit.
Seeing none.
Okay.
Just please state your name and not your address, please.
Okay. Jesse. It's been over a year since the Bottle King project at 45 South Livingston Avenue was passed. Since then, the development has continued to move forward. Construction timelines are in place, and confirmed tax breaks have been granted. But for those of us near the site, essential questions remain unanswered. We still don't know how this will affect us, and that needs to change. To our knowledge, no updated traffic studies have been shared publicly. There are no plans for how increased congestion will be managed or how schools already operating at capacity will handle additional enrollment. Communication about the long-term impact on nearby neighborhoods has been minimal. The silence is part of the problem. Meanwhile, the effects are already being felt. Traffic has increased, intersections are more crowded, families are concerned about school space and everyday safety. Speaking of which, our volunteer fire department and first aid squad are being strained even before this development started. I have experienced firsthand how many schools are being filled to the brim. These are not projections, they're already happening. We're not waiting for this to start, it already has. On November 27, 2023, I made an on-record request for the town to explore traffic calming measures on the streets directly affected by this project. This was a reasonable ask raised by many residents such as myself. Solutions like stop signs, speed enforcement, or safer sidewalks should make a difference. That request still has received no follow-up. Once again, this is on record. A simple safety request deserves a real response. This isn't about stopping a project that's already underway. It's about making sure that as it moves forward, the town meets its responsibility to plan for the real impacts. This community should not be an afterthought. I'm asking for timely public updates. I'm asking for transparency around traffic and school planning. I'm asking that the concerns of residents should be acknowledged and reflected in the decisions being made. We need clear answers, not after the fact, but now. This development is no longer just a concept. It's underway. The community deserves to know how the town is preparing for its impact. We want to move forward, but we want to do it in a way that's responsible and real. We're not against change. We're against the radio silence shown when change is present. We're not asking for perfection. We're asking to be taken seriously. We're asking for fair decisions and representation when it comes to decisions that affect our quality of life. We're asking for better and more transparent communication. This is not unreasonable by any means. This is what good leadership looks like. This development may be moving forward, but communication should move with it, as residents deserve to be and stay informed. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Jess. I appreciate it. As we mentioned to you back in November of 2023, the next time when this will be discussed will be at the planning board. The planning board, has it been set, Barry, the actual date? It's June?
I don't know, but I know, so the developer has now filed an application with the planning board. There will be public hearings noticed. There should be one, I think, fairly soon. I don't know the date. Any property within 200 feet will receive certified mail notice if they've not already of that hearing. It will also be published on the township's website. Would encourage any interested resident and anyone who may be impacted that to attend those hearings. At that point, not only would the developer be obligated to present traffic studies and traffic testimony that you kind of addressed, but the board also retains and has already retained its own traffic expert and planner and other consultants. And that's the most public and best opportunity for the public to get involved, get more information, ask questions, express their concerns. So I certainly appreciate your coming here, and I would encourage you to share that with your neighbors or anyone else to keep an eye out. And as I noted, anyone within 200 feet of that property will get certified mail notice.
Sir, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah. No, that's
when he's
okay.
finished,
Yeah.
you're certainly allowed to come up when he's done.
Yeah, so the way in New Jersey, it works either with zoning or in this particular case it was a redevelopment plan, which is the legislation that authorizes a particular project. But to actually then build, you have to get what's called a site plan, and you have to go to the planning board with actual full-blown drawings, landscaping plans, lighting plans, traffic consultants, a whole host of things. And that is the opportunity for the public to come. In some instances, it may ask for what's called a variance, which would be a deviation from something that was already approved. I don't know whether this particular application will be requesting any variances or not. But the applications for what's called site plan, there, in some instances, can be a preliminary site plan followed as many as 2 years later by a final site plan. My understanding is this developer's requesting preliminary and final in the same process, which is more often than not the case. But that's the opportunity where they will present the vision, the planning board members will ask them questions, our professionals will ask questions, the public is entitled to ask questions, public's entitled to present their own evidence, and we try and work to, and I know we have a very involved planning board who take resident concerns very seriously, and I sit on the planning board, and so they take these concerns very seriously. We work with developers, we get concessions in terms of lighting, in terms of traffic, in terms of things, and so that it's called a site plan is what the application is.
And just one more thing, you can come up, just one more thing about the schools. So we've mentioned this 100 times, I'll say it again because I'm happy to talk about it. The projects that we've approved, there have been 4 or 5 projects that we've approved, none of them are open to this date. Not one of the residents have come to that date. The schools are, if the schools are overcrowded, I'm not here to say they are or they're not, that's not our thing. But if they are overcrowded, you really should bring those concerns to the Board of Education meetings and discuss why they're overcrowded and what they've been doing to discuss that for the last few years. Because the projects that we've approved are not open yet. But if they are, as I said, so if they are overcrowded, I would really think that, the Board of Education would like to hear that and like to hear what you have to say as well at their meetings.
Mayor, if I can just add, there has been, we made a deliberate and constant effort to make sure that Barry is talking to the superintendent with whatever latest projections there are for units that are coming on board, so we can try to let them know how many kids might be coming into the school system because of the projects that are coming on. So as these projects go through different phases of development, we're constantly updating and making sure that they're aware of how many kids we expect them to generate. So the schools will have years to plan forward. I know that the schools are working on a long-term facilities plan. I don't know when they're going to release that, but I know they're hard at work on it. And hopefully that kind of communication between the town council and the Board of Ed is going to allow everyone to work in a coordinated way that makes sure the schools get taken care of, because we all understand how important they are here in this town.
And if I could just add to that, as it relates particularly to the school impact, first, and we've said it a million times, we'll say it again, we didn't ask for any of these projects. These are forced upon us by this affordable housing court and legislation, and we had to do it. And we have gone to great lengths, and the mayor and council should be commended to plan proactively, to try and manage the development. We have maxed out in the 3rd round and plan to max out in the 4th round. There's a certain percentage that can be allowed to be 55 and over with no school kids. So we're maxing out our allotment of that. Importantly as well, the affordable units, which typically are of the project of that 20% have to be 3-bedroom. With the exception of those, we virtually have approved no 3-bedrooms. This particular project is all studios, 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms. And so and that's because we're obligated to have a certain number, but we are certainly sensitive to the school issue and doing everything that we can, I think, within our power to try and mitigate the impact, again, with 55 and over units, 1-bedroom units, studios and things. But we're certainly aware of concerns, and I would echo the mayor's sentiments that to share those concerns with the Board of Ed and also the deputy mayor. We work very closely with them, and we're keeping them involved, and we're hearing from them as to what would help their situation.
I just got to say one more thing, tack on to what Barry said, because it's really one of the important things is that we didn't approve and we didn't vote on A3 from the General Assembly in Trenton, which is a third-round housing, nor A4, which was passed in January of 2024. Okay, none of us approved it, none of us voted on it. These are amendments, these are laws that came to us from Trenton, New Jersey. So I would advise, if you want to take it one step further, you might want to talk to the Assembly people as well in Trenton and also give them your feelings as well.
Okay, thank you.
Howard Agris, 42 Sherbrooke Parkway. I know that this is not the forum for dialogue back and forth, but that was my son, I'm sure you know that. He didn't mention anything about the affordable housing, not once. So there's no question about that.
He talked about the overcrowdings in the
Correct,
schools.
the school, but he didn't mention anything about
But
the
that's-
affordable housing or
but
the
that's-
laws.
But that's part of the reason why these got built. The reason why these buildings got built.
Hold on. This is not the environment, but if you'd like to have a calm conversation about it, I'm all for it. The development back there is going to have a very minuscule, to what we know of right now, amount of low to moderate income housing there. The application that you speak of is for an increase in density in another floor, from what we understand. We are not questioning the low or moderate income housing whatsoever or where it's going to be. Last time we spoke, it wasn't going to be there. So that is not any part of our conversation. We were told last time we were here, all 100 of us plus, that there was not going to be any there. And that's not our concern. He didn't mention anything about that. The overcrowding of the schools, the cafeteria where kids eat on the floor, the traffic, the accidents, the lack of fire staff, no sidewalks on Sherbrooke Parkway, none on Arden, the racetrack, the cut-through. More concern about the traffic, we need to see it. We don't know anything about it. We're not concerned about the housing. Everybody deserves a nice place to live, okay? We're watching, we see what's happening, but it's kind of not in front of us. So we want to know where we can get these questions answered. Where is the safety concerns and when is it being addressed? These buildings are going everywhere. We see them. What are we doing? When are we going to be safe? Where can we talk about it? Tell me, where and when?
I think we mentioned for the building that you're talking about.
It's already been approved, sir.
No, it hasn't.
But the
This is
other,
another application that Barry's speaking of for an increase in density.
Now, and if I misspoke or you misunderstood me, there's no increase in density. That the process is there has to be zoning laws, or in this case, a redevelopment plan in place that just authorizes a project. But then to actually build a specific project, you have to file an application for site plan. And the site plan gets into the details and the nitty-gritty. So to your point in terms of that's the opportunity to hear about traffic, I will kind of let
But
the
the project has already been approved. Why are we speaking about traffic after?
Well,
The site has already been approved with hundreds of units. That's going to generate a ton of cars. How do we approve a site prior to a traffic study?
Well,
That doesn't sound
Well,
appropriate.
traffic studies were done.
They were done during COVID.
Well, they were based on industry standards, and
It was done during COVID.
obviously, this particular situation is unique in the sense that that shopping center has sort of deteriorated to where it generates
That was
no
allowed to
traffic at the
happen.
moment. But it certainly, the alternative would have been to create a better performing or newer shopping center, which the traffic study suggested would have more
We
traffic.
all wish for that, but we want these, we can't have approvals of huge projects without
Mayor,
plans
time's
in
up.
place. Where can we get the
I
answers?
again, I encourage you to come
Tell
to the
me.
come to the planning board meeting.
The town,
It would be-
the town manager just said it to your son a few minutes ago, that at the planning
That's
board.
for another application.
It's not, it's
No,
for
it's
the
for this
application that you're
application.
talking
Same
about.
It's already been
project.
approved. The
that-
project has already been approved.
But that's where the way state law works is that's how it works. So when you come to the planning board, there will be everything will be mentioned that you and your son just
You
discussed.
guys approved the project, not
Time
the
is up.
state.
Thank you, time is up.
Where can we talk about it, guys? Tell us.
Planning board.
Planning board.
But it was approved by this council.
Okay, sir, your time's up. Thank you.
It was approved by you guys.
Jim Devlin, 41 Sherbrooke Parkway. I just have some questions, because I think there might have been some misinformation too, because we had heard that there was an application for a pilot for the Bottle King property, and that passed, correct?
Yes.
Correct, that passed.
Correct. And then we had heard that there was also an application for them to add more units into the Bottle King property and go higher than
Not that
was
we're aware
originally
of.
approved.
No.
That's
That's
incorrect. Okay,
incorrect.
yeah, that's what I think. And then I guess my other question is, when we talk about the traffic studies and things like that, it would be the township, though, that would have to then put into place things like the decision to put in sidewalks or speed bumps, right? Because that wouldn't be the developer. So at that conversation, when you have that meeting and we talk about concerns about traffic study, that's when the town council might say, these are some things that we can do to rectify if it looks like it's going to be a tough area.
Yeah,
just wondering where that comes from.
I mean,
That's-
certainly any remedial actions on Sherbrooke Parkway, whether it be sidewalks, speed bumps, there were at one point discussion of making it one way, there was discussion of closing the end of it, that would all be the town's prerogative, with or without the developer.
So that's right, because it has been approved and stuff. And then the last thing I guess I would say is I think some of the misunderstanding came from the ordinance that's on now for the additional property near ShopRite. There was like 30 units maybe approved there.
That was
Yeah,
that was just a developer's agreement that
Right.
was just passed this year.
Yeah,
That-
no,
that-
and I would say simply, it looks like it's a little bit more modest approach, and I saw that it was like limit to 40 feet in height, which is something that we were asking for, and I would actually, I don't know if that came from you or that was initially from the developer, but we appreciate that. It looks like there's a spot, there's development, but it wasn't, an enormous amount of units. It looked like you were sticking with what would be on Livingston Avenue. So actually, I thank you for that, and for keeping with that. Our other concerns, we shared before. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are putting the cart before the horse. Putting the cart before the horse.
You're out of order, sir. Thank you.
Anybody want to make a motion? He's not speaking. He's not speaking.
Mayor, I need to close the public.
Motion to close public comment?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. I actually have a public comment that I'd like to make now that we've closed public comment. Last meeting, this council passed the resolutions which the council endeavors to examine any approved pilots and the potential of sharing those funds generated from the pilot with the Board of Education. I'm very proud that the council took this step, recognizing the importance of the school district to our township. I was asked by several residents if pilots previously approved, specifically the former Bottle King site, would be evaluated for potential sharing with the Board of Education, and the answer is yes. This council is committed to the resolution it passed and supporting the Board of Education when appropriate. Okay, reports of township officials and council members. Ann.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just wanted to thank the council and, of course, Barry for working with us with the budget, and especially the Finance Committee we put together. I think it's made a huge difference. We were on time this year, and I just wanted to thank everyone.
Thank you very much, Ann. And thank you very much for all your hard work this year. I know there's a lot of work that you put in, a lot of Friday meetings, the Finance Committee, Councilman Butani and myself, thank you very much for the time that you put in as well. Very happy to see this budget in the form that it is and on time as well, so thank you. Adam.
As mentioned at our last meeting, we have put together a Livingston Hometown Heroes program. It's a banner program. We were going to be putting banners along South Livingston Avenue, honoring our veterans. This application will be going up online this week. And so just look for it on our website. There will be an application and kind of instructions on what to do, but look for that. We're very proud of our veterans, and we do want to honor them, and so we're getting this up and ready.
Thank you very much.
Just echoing, sort of, adding on to, for anyone who's out there not sure what we mean, you may have seen them in other towns. There are individual banners attached to individual street posts that have the picture of the particular veteran. So if you have a veteran in your family or anybody you'd like to honor, we certainly encourage you to fill out the application. Beyond that, other than just thanks to the mayor and council, the finance committee for getting the budget done, and certainly to Ann. But other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Russ?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Counselor?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, we're going into close, I believe.
Yeah, we'll be going to close to discuss litigation, the Mulaney case, the Mulaney matter.
Thank you. Carolyn?
Nothing from me, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. So I get to read the notes for the week and what we've done the last couple of weeks. So the last few weeks have been very busy. We had an ice cream party with the police and many of the residents. All of us were there. It was a lot of fun, and we took a really good picture together, all eating some ice cream. We honored Leah Becker, who was retiring from Temple Beth Shalom, the Hebrew school director from there after 30-somewhat years there. Lovely evening. We passed a resolution. Councilman Batani joined me. Passed a resolution making it Leah Becker Day. Always fun. We all went to see the artwork that was put up at the community center for all the AP art classes from all the schools, Mount Pleasant, elementary all the way through high school. Some great stuff. The Kiwanis Carnival took place. I know it wasn't the most successful week, or was it because of the rain, but I know that everybody had a lot of fun, and whatever money that was raised, I know goes to the right causes. So thanking everyone who's on the Kiwanis for everything that they do every year. It's a great event. Yoga TV was launched. We all got a little chance to get on TV. I know Councilman Klein, you'll get a chance to show up to do yoga with Fall yourself, because you missed that one. But I know Fall's looking forward to having yoga with you, so that was a lot of fun. We had the fire inspection dinner last Thursday night. So we thank the volunteer fire, for everything that they do every day, keeping us all safe. And yesterday was the Memorial Day Parade. All of us marched. It was probably, at least the best weather that I remember in the last 10 Memorial Day parades. Best turnout we've ever had. It was great to see so many different groups, different diverse groups there. And what I really loved was almost all of the elementary schools were represented, and those kids were chanting the names of the school with a lot of school spirit, which we have not seen in a while. So that was really a lot of fun to see as well. So it was great spending a few hours marching, getting some steps in as well. I know there's one thing Councilman Batani wants to talk about, but I'll give 1 second. A couple other events coming up tomorrow from 10:30 to 12:30, 1 o'clock is a YMCA senior event right next door. 5:30 on Saturday is the day of games at the gazebo from 12:08. June 1st on Sunday, a very busy day, 8:30 to 12 o'clock, a pancake breakfast by the First Aid Squad. Everybody will come and donate the money and have some yummy breakfast. At 12 o'clock is the GLBTQ flag raising event right outside here at Town Hall. 12:30 is the Shiv's Third Eye Picnic. The Arts Council has a art show from 1 to 5 at its new home. And what else do we have? On June 2nd, we're all looking forward to a great event, the groundbreaking of the new YMCA right across the street at 1 o'clock. Something that this council looks forward to, and will be great for the town. We have a bid forum that'll take place at 6:30, 6:45 right here in this room with with the bid, as well as all of the commercial property owners as well, the commercial store owners as well. Our next meeting will take place on Wednesday, is it June 3rd or June 4th? June 4th at 6:30. We moved it around a little bit for Election Day as well. I know Keaton wants to talk about AIP. Sean, you have your hand. You want to say something first?
Real quick,
Please.
It's a little bit early, but just to plug electronic recycling on June 8th, so everyone should just plan ahead on that the morning of June 8th.
Okay. Councilman Batani, you want to talk about the AAPI?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a fun event. Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders is the full form of AAPI, and all of us were there. It was another one of those beautiful days where a lot of residents turn up. Good cultural activities, food, and different stalls, vendors. A lot of fun, good way to integrate a lot of parts of our community into the larger community. I just want to extend LCDI, did a terrific job again. And two co-chairs of the event, they did a lot of hard work, Krishna Majitia and Shoshan He. So congratulations to those co-leads and all the volunteers who took part in it. So thanks, Mayor. It was a fun event.
Okay, we are going to be going back into the conference room. We will be continuing and open for a few minutes before closed.